Started. I had the microphone here not for you guys, but for those who are joining us online on the live stream, so they can hear us. So, yep, there's no speakers in here, but this is for their benefit, not yours. All right. So, welcome. Glad you guys are here. Do want to welcome those who are joining us on the live stream, or those who will be watching it later. All right. So, just want to take some time tonight to do a couple things. Just go over a few practicals on the trip. Also, just want to answer any questions that you may have, and then just maybe talk about some spiritual preparation, and then take a few minutes just to pray together for the trip. So, hope you guys are excited. I am like off the charts excited. It's going to be an absolutely amazing trip. If I could guarantee, I can't guarantee, but if I could, I guarantee it's going to be life-changing for you. There's just no way you're going to come back from this trip the same way that you landed there. So just have high expectations. It'll be a really good time. So why don't we kind of jump in? I don't know if you wanted to say anything to... Veronica, do you have the final count? Last I knew it was 30... It's 29. Okay, so we have 29 people going in total. That's a nice number. That'll be a great, and it's an awesome group. Just looking at the names there, it's going to be an amazing team. So, all right. Yeah, I'm good. Well, why don't we just do a couple of things here just in terms of talking about some practicals. You have a little page here that says the Israel tour, just kind of our agenda for tonight a little bit, just some information for you. I hope everybody has had this. You've kind of gone over the itinerary. I wasn't really planning to go over it too much, other than to say in the beginning we'll be in Jerusalem. Then we'll head kind of south of Jerusalem, head down to the Dead Sea area, which will be really kind of cool. And then we'll head up north to the Sea of Galilee. We'll be based on the Sea of Galilee, and then we'll tour some different sites up there. It's all kind of outlined in this that you should have already had, kind of the itinerary. So it'll be really good. We do have a free day, Monday, September 28th. It's completely free. We're working on a couple things. I mean, one, if you want to just hang out in Jerusalem, do some shopping, it's a great time to explore on your own. There also is a really, from what I've heard, an amazing, huge conference that's taking place in Israel where people Christians from around the world are coming and gathering to worship and to pray. And so we're trying to see if anybody is interested in going to that conference, seeing if we can make arrangements on the free day for those who want to actually head over to that conference. I don't have a lot of information. We'll get some more information out to you. But, I don't know, Danny, do you know anything more about it? Or
it's actually probably going to be, from what I understand, the largest gathering of international Christians anywhere. They will literally come from Asia, from Africa, from everywhere. And this particular day is a free day. The rest of the conference is you have to pay for. But this is the free day that we have. So, yeah.
So we're going to see if we can make arrangements for those who will be interested to get to that conference. If you don't want to go to the conference, that's fine. You can hang out in Jerusalem that day. It's all day. Yep. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of information on it. We're kind of working on that now. We'll get that out. But either way, it is a free day, so it'll either be exploring Jerusalem on your own or it'll be at that conference for those who want to. The rest of the tour will be fairly busy and packed in with stuff. Sort of the typical day, obviously, we'll be up reasonably early for breakfast. Usually, probably the tours will kick off somewhere, 8 to 9 in the morning. We'll be loading onto a bus and visiting all kinds of sites. We'll take a break for lunch. Lunch, everybody's kind of on your own in the sense of you got to pay for your own lunch. Depending on where we are, if we're in Jerusalem, it's probably just going to be, hey, you got an hour or so for lunch. Go have fun. Go find a place, eat. Other places we may pick a small spot to stop and just eat as a group, but lunch will be on your own. Then we'll be touring for most of the day, back at the hotels for dinner, and then the evenings we'll probably have some kind of short team gathering of some kind to worship and to pray together. Those are usually very, very powerful times. It's a time where we get to minister one to another. There may be some meetings that get set up. We're kind of working on some stuff like that to do some ministry or visit some churches there. We'll see how that goes. And if we don't have those set up on certain nights, then it'll be kind of free time for you guys. A lot of people will want to get sleep. It's a busy schedule. So just be prepared for that. It will be pretty busy. We do have basically 2 down days. One is a free day, and one day will be at a resort and the Dead Sea. So it's kind of like a spa day. And the ladies usually love that. You can cake yourself in mud. Supposedly the minerals from that area are really good for your skin. And jump in the Dead Sea, and you can bob like a cork. It's really kind of cool. But that tends to be more of a kind of a low-key, relaxing day. So those 2 will be your rest days. Take advantage of them. Everything else is like gung-ho, full throttle, lots of fun, lots of stuff. So what else? We do have, good to announce, we do have Brian Simmons who will be joining us for part of the tour. He's going to be in Israel at that time. He's got a conference in Jerusalem. And then he's going to join us kind of for the second half when we go up north. He's going to meet us up north and spend a few days with us on the tour. So I'm really excited about that. If you haven't heard, Surprise will not be joining us, correct?
He may try and connect with us somewhere. He and Trifina still been praying through it. That's all I know. Something got miscommunicated in the process, and he's actually going to be in Israel, but just not at the same place as we are at the same times. So we're going to try and pull him over, but no guarantees.
All right. Any questions sort of so far, just on kind of the itinerary or what the day will look like? Kind of cool? All right. It's going to be so much fun. You should have gotten, or you should be getting, a little packet from EO Tours. They started arriving today, so you should get this sometime this week. It'll have a bunch of information in it, so if you don't get it by the end of the week, just call them or call us, and we'll make sure that's there. Travel to and from Israel. I think most of you should have the flight information. We'll be going out. I think we're leaving. The flight leaves, I believe, at 5:50 on Thursday evening. We're flying Australian Airlines with a layover. Austrian Airlines with a layover in Vienna, and then flying back on Lufthansa with a layover somewhere. I don't know if it's this. Where? It is in Frankfurt. So for those who did, if anybody purchased your own tickets, you're not flying on sort of the group one, then you'll just have to make sure that you meet us in Tel Aviv airport by the time that we arrive, which I think is, what time is it? 2:55 Israel time. We arrive in Tel Aviv. So if you're flying on your own flight and not part of this, you got to make sure you are in Tel Aviv airport by that time, and you can join us on the transportation to Jerusalem. Otherwise, you'll have to find out what hotel we're staying in and meet us at the hotel. Okay, which probably is going to be in the packet, the hotels that we're staying at. Is it in there? I haven't even seen my packet yet. We are working, if anybody's interested, we're working on transportation from here, from Tallinn down to JFK and back. We have, we're probably going to reserve a van. I think we have 14 spots. I believe 13 of them are already taken. Yep. If you should have gotten an email from Veronica, and if you responded to Veronica with a "count me in" for that, then you're one of the 13 who has a spot. If you're unsure, just ask Veronica if you're one of the 13. So I think that's going to be $107. It's round trip, including everything, tip and everything. We'll meet here at the church. I'm guessing around 12. We'll probably meet here, give ourselves plenty of time to get there and get checked in and all that. So probably around noon we'll leave here for that, and then the bus will pick us up. So if anybody is interested in that, I have one spot left for that. If if you haven't responded to Veronica, and if we get a big response tonight, like if you talk to Veronica tonight at this meeting, or if you email her, if you're watching online and you email her, if you let her know that you really want to be part of that transportation, we'll see if we can get a bigger bus. But if we don't hear anything, then we're just going to assume everybody's on their own unless you're one of the 14 that's going to be on that bus. You're responsible for your own transportation to and from JFK. All right? Okay, so we're staying at the Olive Tree in Jerusalem. That's a very nice hotel. Does it say which one we're staying on? We're staying at a spa there, yeah. And we're staying at the Leonardo up in Galilee. I've been there, very nice hotel. So all the hotels are 4- and 5-star hotels, which is not quite the same level as a 4 or 5 in the U.S., but it's pretty close. They're all really top-notch. The food will be fantastic, and your accommodations will be good too. Planning for the trip. The only, I get a lot of questions about, well, what's the flight going to be like, and how should we prepare for it? It'll be long. And my encouragement basically is do whatever you need to do to get sleep on the plane and entertain yourself when you're awake. So, Israel is 7 hours ahead of us. Jet lag is an issue for some people. What I recommend you do, this is what I do when I travel, is I try to get on the time of where I'm going as fast as possible. So for me, on Thursday, I'm going to be thinking, what time is it in Israel? It's going to be 7 hours ahead. So I'm probably going to be up extra early on Thursday. And I would recommend that first leg, if at all possible, you sleep the first leg that we're on. So from New York to Vienna, which I think is an 8-hour flight, you're probably going to get dinner pretty quick, eat, and then do whatever it takes to fall asleep. And sleep for as long as you can on that first leg. All right. The second leg, you're probably not going to want to sleep because even though it'll be early in the morning U.S. time, it's going to be morning and afternoon Israel time, and you don't want to start sleeping. You want to be awake so that when you arrive in Israel, you can get to bed at a reasonable hour and you're not staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning Israel time and just keeping yourself out of whack. Does that kind of make sense? So that'll be that. That's my advice for you there. So bring stuff to make yourself comfortable sleeping and keep yourself entertained when you are awake. I don't know if you have any other suggestions, Danny. You travel a lot more. Yeah, when we arrive, we'll probably get to the hotel. I'm guessing around 4 something or so, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I don't know if we have anything planned that first day. Yes, there's one thing planned. We go to what's called the Haas Promenade, which is actually an amazing view of Jerusalem. So we'll do that. That'll be the extent of our tour that first day, but it gives you a nice overview of the whole city. It's a beautiful spot to look at, awesome for pictures. Plus it just gives you visual. You get to kind of see the layout of what Jerusalem looks like on the hill that it's on and whatnot. And then it's basically dinner, a team gathering, and get to bed. So literally when you arrive, that's all we're going to be doing. So you can see why you don't want to be sleeping on the flight into Jerusalem, because if you do, you're going to be up all night. So get your sleep early. All right. We did give you a packing suggestion, so I won't go through it, but you can take that at your leisure to review. The days are generally warm, probably in the 70s to low 80s, and the evenings will be a bit cooler. It's casual dress, so the way I'm dressed right now is how I'll be dressed, maybe with T-shirts. The biggest thing is make sure you bring comfortable walking shoes. You will do a lot of walking on this tour, so just be prepared for that. One of the things we're doing, which is just a high cool factor, we're doing a Hezekiah's Tunnel, which is a 1,600-foot tunnel that was dug by King Hezekiah, and it's probably 60 feet underground. It's a pretty amazing thing. They'll kind of describe how they did this. It's an amazing feat that they did it, but It was to bring water basically from a pool into Jerusalem, and water still runs through it, and we'll actually take a hike through that tunnel in water, and it'll be so if you're claustrophobic, there's a way for you to get around it, but you'll want to bring shoes that you don't mind getting wet, because you'll be walking probably, I would say, anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8 inches of water. It's really a lot of fun, unless you're highly claustrophobic. So bring that. Bring a flashlight if you want to as well for that. Cell phone internet. I would say most plans you can, like I know Verizon has a global plan. You can use your phone over there if you get a global plan. They're a little bit expensive. There is an alternative option. You can rent a phone while you're there. I think they charge 18 cents a minute, or you can get like a $5 a day unlimited talk or something like that. There's a website that I gave you called israelphones.com, and if you want to rent something, you can go there, reserve it, and at the airport you can pick it up, and at the airport you can drop it off. So it's really, really easy to do. Internet, there's really not much in the way of internet there in terms of free internet. Even at the hotels will probably charge you if you want internet access. So if internet access is a big deal to you, Israel Phones does offer like a USB thing you can plug into your computer and get Wi-Fi. They offer like those MiFi hotspots and things like that. So you can rent those if you really want to get internet service. If you don't care about internet service, I would recommend on your phone you turn off your data, because if your phone connects into the network, you will get charged. You'll come home to a several $100 phone bill that you weren't aware of. So that's it for the cell and the internet. Power converters, adapters. Israel is on a 220 volt. I believe a lot of the cell phone chargers will work. I know the Apple ones do. Joel told me that most of the cell phone ones do. So I know the Apple ones do. If that's all you're going to plug in, then you only need an adapter, because their plugs are different than US plugs. So you have to get an adapter, and that's all you'll need. If you're going to use something where your plug doesn't have its own built-in converter or whatever, you'll also need a converter. Does that make sense? So there's a converter to convert from 220 to 110 or whatever, and an adapter to plug it in. And so Joel was saying for the ladies, you probably don't want to bring a hairdryer. If a hairdryer is a big deal to you, you're better off buying an international hairdryer, one that will work over there. I know nothing about that, so talk to Joel. So I don't even know if I don't know if the hotels offer hair dryers. I have no idea. I don't use those kind of things. So yeah, I get questions about water sometimes. The water is safe in Israel, safe to drink. You don't have to worry about it. Because of the mineral content over there, sometimes people don't like the taste of it, but it's safe. So you don't have to worry about that. We probably will, there'll be plenty of opportunity if you want to get bottled water to get that. We'll probably buy a couple of cases when we get there and just put them on the bus, stuff like that. But the water is safe in case you're concerned about it. Money, this is very important. Money, number one. The tips for the driver and the tour guide are not included in the package. All the other tipping is. So the porters and the hotel, we don't have to worry about that. But we do have to tip our driver and our guide. We have a tour bus and a guide. So we have a driver who's going to drive the bus. We're going to have a nice, comfortable coach bus. And we'll have an Israeli tour guide who will be getting us into everything, doing some of the teaching and whatnot. So it is customary to tip them. So what we'd like to do is just have everybody bring that money and give it to the leader, the tour leader, myself or Danny or Veronica, and we'll just combine it and we'll take care of that tip for you at the end. Does that make sense? And I think we're asking for $90 from each person, and that will cover the tip for them for the whole entire trip. That's already included in the price. The $107 price round trip includes everything, tip and everything. Yep. So really, you don't have to worry about tipping when you're there. Just bring the $90, and that will take care of that piece, and everything else is already included in the cost that you've paid. All the hotel porters and staff and all that will get tipped by the company. Does that make sense? So make sure you bring $90 cash and give it to one of us, preferably at the beginning of the trip before you buy souvenirs with it. Yeah. So that's one thing. Second, your meals are covered except for lunch. So every day, breakfast and dinner is part of the tour cost. We'll be at the hotel. They're nice. They're nice breakfasts and dinners, not like just a muffin they're like big breakfasts and dinners. But lunch is not included, so that you'll have to bring money for. I don't know, I'm guessing, we'll be doing pretty inexpensive ones. Sometimes we'll be in the city. We'll just go out and get a falafel or something, but probably $15 or so a day for lunch, $20 maybe. Plan on. Well, I'll get you lunch and a soda and whatever. I don't know. I'm just to be prepared. And then, other than that, it's just anything you want to spend your money on in terms of souvenirs or purchases or whatever else. So. No, we'll actually make room for that. So probably the first day, if not the first day, certainly the first full day in the morning, we'll make arrangements to stop so anybody who wants to exchange money can exchange money. We'll talk to them, and they'll be able to get us probably the best exchange rate. Sometimes you can have somebody, like last year, 2 years ago when I went, we actually had somebody come who was like an exchange. That's what they do. They actually walk around the markets with cash and they actually give you sometimes some pretty good rates. So we'll make opportunity for you to be able to exchange your dollars into shekels. So you'll have shekels. Some places will take credit cards. Credit cards are actually a really good option because generally speaking, the best exchange rates are going to be through your credit card company. Better than what you'll get at a bank or an exchange booth there. So
with the credit cards, make sure you check with your bank though, because and in fact let them know where you're going, number one, or you may find that your card won't even work over there. That's one thing, but also this year in several places around the world, to use a debit card, they're going to charge you $5 a pop. So talk to your bank, because you may not want to use your debit card. You may want to use a credit card and use your debit to pay your credit card. But that's just we discovered that the hard way.
Really? Okay, so it's definitely worth checking with your bank on how that works, debit and credit. Yeah, ask them. I know when I went there, I found it actually very good. If I needed cash, I went to the ATM and just used my debit card to take cash out while I was there. I didn't get charged. I'm not out to find out now if they charged me or not, but I got no charges, and the exchange rate was really good. So that to me ended up being the way I did it. I wrote my debit card for cash, and but definitely find out. I was not aware of that. So, so basically, you just need $90 for the tips. Give it to us at the beginning, and then whatever you want to bring for lunch and for your own spending money, and that's it. Everything else is included in the tour.
I don't know about Israel, but I imagine it's similar. You want to bring brand new dollar bills, like $100 bills, whatever. You do not want to bring old ones because some places will not exchange them at all. And I know in South Africa they want it all. So that's very important that when you go to the bank, you say, I need brand new. If it's wrinkled or if it's marked, say that won't work. I'm going international.
Okay.
Yeah, 20s, 50s.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, some places will actually take American dollars, but honestly, they're going to give you a pretty bad exchange rate. So what they'll do is if something costs a certain number of shekels, they'll take U.S. dollars instead, but they'll do the exchange rate themselves, and it will not be in your favor. So, all right. So that's pretty much most of what I wanted to cover, just in terms of some of the practicals of the trip. Was there any questions or anything? Any? Okay. Yep. So the question was about dressing, especially for women. Generally speaking, again, casual is fine. You can pretty much wear anything that's tasteful is fine. There may be a couple of sites where the men will have to wear pants and the ladies can't have their shoulders uncovered. So it would be good just to make sure that when you pack, you have some of that. So like for the guys, you can do like the zip-off pants if you want, and shorts, or just bring in a day pack, bring a pair of pants with you. And the ladies, bring something to cover your shoulders. It won't be very often, and we'll let you know the night before that day that, hey, tomorrow we're going to be at a site. Make sure you bring a shawl or something to cover your shoulders, and guys, bring some pants to change into. It's only a couple. I don't even remember if we actually have those sites on our tour or not. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that's going to be the only potential restriction. Other than that, you can pretty much wear anything that's comfortable, shorts, t-shirt, stuff, as long as it's, again, just be kind of tasteful, which isn't going to be a concern. Yeah, that's fine.
A dollar is basically 3 3/4.
Yeah, hasn't changed too much then. You'll want shekels for lunch. Yep. For lunch as well, yeah. Yep. Yep. So I think EO Tours was recommending you bring $500. That seems like a good number, because mostly it's going to depend on how much shopping you want to do. Your lunches won't be that much. And so yeah, it kind of depends on where you're at. In Jerusalem, one of the fun things to do if you like this is to go to the markets. And if you like that kind of environment, it's a riot. There's lots of awesome stuff there. It's absolutely packed. You get into bargaining. So if you're one of those people that likes to haggle and go back and forth, if you don't, go shopping with someone who does. It is a lot of fun, and yeah, it's good. I remember when we took the team to Ghana a few years back. We went to one of these markets, and it's just crazy. They're haggling, and I was, I don't mind that kind of thing. So, and I was kind of convinced I could get a pretty good deal. So it was so funny. I'd go in and try to buy this thing, and I'd do my best arguing it down what I thought was a phenomenal price, and I'd bring it back out. And one of the guys who is the, I forget what he does, but he basically helps manage the home there that we run. He's a local. I'd come out. His name was William. I'd go, William, I paid this much. I did a good job. He'd look at me and go, oh, you got totally taken. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to try again, We'd run back in, get something else, I'd bargain even harder, I'd come back, and he goes, yeah, that wasn't a very good price either. At the end, we were like, William, we want to get this. Can you go buy it for us? So, it's kind of fun, and yeah, it's fun. And honestly, I don't mind too because you are supporting local. I mean, these people, they need this as their livelihood. And so, I like playing the game, and I'll do the best job I can. And if I pay a little extra for something, I really don't care as far as I'm concerned. You're just helping out the local economy. By the way, one of the best ways, honestly, to support Israel is by doing exactly what you're doing. Taking a trip there is a big deal. Israel is one of their main things for their economy is tourism. They really value people coming over and visiting. They will welcome you. They love the fact that you're there, not just for your money, but I mean they understand that by you coming, it does help them, and so it actually is an important part. So for those who love Israel, if you love the Jewish people and the Arab people, going and visiting actually is a very practical and spiritual way to support them. So, Tina? Yeah, I'm not aware of like anything from the U.S. Department that's saying there's any kind of threat. I personally, I think Israel is one of the safest places you can be. Their security is absolutely top notch. You'll see it sort of when we have to go back to the airport. We're going to have to get there really early on the way back because the security is intense. Danny, I think, has already shared his story of his experience with the Israeli security. And they take it extremely serious.
Surprise and I actually, on the way to Israel, um, we we were we were completely. They dumped our bags out. They strip searched us. They did everything. Be prepared. You just go through it. You're here. It's like I'm going to Israel. Very important thing. On your passports, if you're planning on doing any missions anywhere else in the world, particularly in Muslim countries, do not let them stamp your passport. Have a piece of paper and have them stamp the paper. That's very important because if you no. You do not want Israel to stamp it because then you're going to have a hard time getting into another. You're going to have a hard time. Yeah.
It's pretty standard, I think. I mean, last time I went there, they didn't stamp anybody's passport. They just gave you a piece of paper in your passport. That's pretty much standard now because of that very reason.
Yeah.
But it is intense in terms of security, and I mean, you won't see it, but they got cameras everywhere. They got facial recognition. They're watching. They're literally watching people's facial reactions, habits, and anything. If they see anything they think is suspicious of anybody waiting in a line, you will probably find a security guard next to you asking you questions. And if he's not satisfied, you'll get escorted off for a little talk. So don't act nervous. Don't have any twitches. Don't sweat. Yeah, definitely don't. But it is a very safe nation, I believe. Jerusalem, I believe you'll feel very safe in Jerusalem. We are not, at this point in the tour, we're actually not going into any of the territories. Last time I was there, we did go into Bethlehem, which is, I don't think we're going into Bethlehem this time, are we? So we're not going into any of those areas on this particular tour. So even when we did 2 years ago, I felt very, very safe doing so. And honestly, even if you do go into the territories again, their livelihood is really actually dependent on tourism. They actually do want people coming in. But like I said, I'm pretty sure we're not going into any of the territories this time. So we'll just be, yeah. Uh, yeah. The question was, is it okay to wear jewelry like a cross, anything that would kind of really symbolize Christianity? That's a good question, Tina. I'm actually not sure. I don't know if you have some thoughts on that. Okay.
Number one, there's like tons of Catholics in Israel, and they'll all be wearing crosses. Um, they'll at some of the souvenir shops, you'll probably be able to get a Jewish star with a cross on it. It's not, you know, uh, the biggest issue really isn't what you're wearing. It's really how you're responding. It really is.
Yeah. And Jerusalem, I mean, it's actually divided into old Jerusalem into the Arab, Christian, and Jewish quarters. And they've actually really learned to get along very well together. One of the things if you haven't figured this out, I would not trust what you read in the media and our media to give you an accurate picture, probably of anything, but but it's very true in terms of Israel and what's going on there. What comes across on the news is not an accurate depiction of what's actually happening, how people are actually getting along and not getting along and doing stuff. It's just not accurate. And Jerusalem actually is actually an amazingly peaceful city. There's obviously some hot button political issues that are big deals even in Jerusalem, but the people have really learned how to get along, so you'll find. And we'll actually go into probably all of those quarters. The Arab quarter is one of the best markets, actually. So you'll be perfectly safe to go into all of them. I took my daughter, who at the time was probably 17 or something. No, actually, Carter, she's probably 20. Okay, yeah. And the two of us just walked around by ourselves at night and in the Arab quarter, and we felt perfectly safe, had no issues. Jerusalem at night is beautiful. If you still have energy, you're not exhausted, and you don't mind being up a little bit, it's well worth exploring Old Jerusalem at night. Unless we're doing something else, that's probably where I'll be. So it's a very safe place. I think you'll feel very safe when you're there. Oh, I would say it's much safer than Egypt. So, yep. Any other? Personally, I bring stuff like emergency or airborne and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff when I'm traveling, just in case, you're on a plane with 200 other people who are coughing, sneezing, and doing whatever else, and I like to just, boost up stuff. It's not fun to get sick overseas if you can avoid it. Yep. Yep. Nope. Yep. 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 All right. Any other?
Just if anybody out there has T-Mobile, your texting will be free. You actually have unlimited texting overseas. So, um, yeah. Sorry. um,
There are Viber, I believe it's called, Viber. WhatsApp. So, oh, those are all Wi-Fi, aren't they? Never mind. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So again, just call your company, your cell phone company, find out what a data plan would cost. Really check what they'll charge for data rates. And Israel Phones is the other option if you want to rent a phone there. The website's right there. You can go to it. You can get everything there, reserve it, and it's really easy.
One other thing, and I don't know if it's even possible, I'll have to check, but is that if you can buy a SIM card, I don't know if... So, and what you do is you actually, if you have a phone number on Skype, which I do, you can forward your calls to your Skype number here, and when you get there, you have to get on Skype somewhere, and you just forward the Skype number onto your Israeli number, and you can text home. Usually that's maybe 20 cents or something. But you text home, call me now. They will call the Skype number or call your number, and it'll go right through Skype and reach you on that end using their SIM card. So did that many years.
All right. Any other questions? Travel insurance? Yes. It'd be good to make sure you have travel insurance. There's two things that you're covering. One is there's travel insurance. If you get sick or something happens and you can't make the trip, you can get your money back through your travel insurance company. That's up to you. The piece that we would really want everybody to make sure you do have is medical coverage when you're overseas. So if your own health plan does not cover that, it is worthwhile to buy medical coverage for while you're over there, which allows something happens, you can get hospital coverage. They can, God forbid, you have to get evacuated out of the country back here. That it covers stuff like that. That would be the piece that we would highly recommend that you make sure you have some kind of medical coverage while you're there, whether or not you want to purchase travel insurance to cover the cost of your trip in case you can't make it. That depends on whether you feel like spending that money or not. But please do make sure about medical coverage, that you do have some kind of medical coverage. That would be important. We really wouldn't want you to be over there, have something happen, and we can't make sure you get the kind of care you need. So there's lots of different places to buy that, and I don't think it's too expensive. Yep, so if you have medicine or prescriptions, make sure you put it in the original container. All right. Okay, is that it for questions on sort of the practical side? I want to talk about the spiritual. Yep. We'll be done before 7. All right, so I personally believe Israel is extremely close to God's heart. I think he loves the nation. He loves the people. Still has a plan and a purpose in Christ for them. And I believe that part of what we do when we go and visit Israel, we should be praying for Israel. I think part of our trip is to be sort of intercessory in that sense. We're carrying them on our heart as we go there. We're lifting them up before the Lord. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem is part of the scripture. So I think that's an important part of what we do. I want to just encourage us as we're getting ready for the trip to be praying for Israel, be praying for the Jewish people, be praying for the Arab people and the Palestinians, all of them. As we're going, it'll be important. We'll take time to make sure that we pray as a group at different sites and different things. We'll be praying for one another, but we also just want to kind of just consider your time there to be kind of an intercessory time where you're lifting up the people of Israel and the Jewish people up to the Lord. Just your whole time. Just be kind of praying as you're at sites. Just kind of keep them on your heart. To me, that's an important part of what we do while we're there. This trip isn't like specifically a missions trip in that traditional sense, but it really does have sort of a missionary aspect to it, even though we're on a tour and we'll be doing that part. This is not like a vacation. It will be kind of even spiritually intense at times. And one of the things that is so important, and we always talk with teams as we want to go on a trip, it's really important to know your heart and guard your heart, especially in terms of relationships. You'll be amazed at what can happen on a trip, how you can get annoyed. You may not think of yourself as a person who gets easily annoyed, and you can be on these trips, you're going to probably get annoyed. You get annoyed with your roommate, you'll get annoyed with the team leader, somebody, or you just get, and part of that is just, honestly, it's just spiritual warfare. And it's really important just to be aware of that and to really know and guard your own heart that you're not letting that kind of stuff bother you. We've done a lot of work to plan this trip out, and I believe it's going to be amazing and awesome. But it would not surprise me in the least if it doesn't go exactly according to plan. And that's just okay. It's going to be really good. Just roll with things. We may make some last-minute decisions of things to do. We are believing that, God's going to be with us. The Holy Spirit's going to be leading, and who knows? God may just want something completely different than what's on the itinerary. And if it's possible to follow the Lord and what He wants to do, we absolutely want to do it. And so just kind of go with that in mind, that we want to be flexible. We want to go with the flow. If things don't go right, it's just okay. Attitude is everything on these trips. And if you don't think of yourself as a person who can get irritated at other people or be an annoyance to other people, chances are on this trip, it'll happen. Either you'll get mad or something, or someone will get mad at you or whatever, and we absolutely just have to guard our hearts and really make sure, we're on the same page with each other, with the Lord. It is an important dynamic. I see every missionary trip I've ever been on, stuff happens. And when you're on assignment from God, the enemy does, I don't like to put a lot of focus on it, but you have to be aware that he's there and he wants to oppose what God wants to do. And he's only successful to the degree we let him be. And so it's just important. It's important to be in prayer for yourself. It's important to be in prayer for the team. I believe God has something really special for you as an individual while you're there. He's going to speak to you. You're going to have an encounter with the Lord in a unique way for you. And it could be at a site that we visit. It could be in a person you encounter. It could just be in your prayer time in the morning or at night. Who knows? I just guarantee God's going to meet you in a really powerful way. You're going to be strengthened. You're going to be encouraged. You're going to be lit on fire. And you're going to be there also on assignment to bless the people of Israel and to lift them up in intercession. And I believe God will give us some neat encounters there. I anticipate meeting some interesting people. And so it's really just important that your heart, you're spiritually prepared, not just going for a tour, which is awesome, but that your heart's ready to be knit together as a team and to follow God and see what He has for you. Is there anything you wanted to add? So that's an important part. We will absolutely be doing a lot in terms of prayer together on this trip. Tina. I think it was kind of assumed. Absolutely. Yep. Bring your Bible if you like bringing it hard copy, or bring it on your phone. When I'm traveling, I tend to use my phone more. Make sure that, if you have it on your phone, that you actually have it on your phone. Like you download it, you don't have to access it if you want to use it on your phone. But yeah, usually, we'll take time at the sites. Obviously, we have a tour guide that will probably be doing some teaching, and then Danny and I will probably jump in as well at some of the sites. And sometimes it's fun when you're at a site that has a direct tie to something in the Bible to read that scripture while you're there, and just kind of let the whole thing kind of soak in and whatnot. Brian will be with us the last part of the tour. He's a phenomenal teacher. He'll have his Passion Translation and do stuff. It'll just be awesome. So yes, by all means, bring your Bible. Again, the tour is an important part. It's neat to go to these sites, and it really helps ground and connect your faith in an amazing way. The Word of God will absolutely come alive in a fresh new way for you. No matter how much of a word person you are, when you actually are there in the land, it's amazing. So the tour is an important part, but to me, the best part is you're going to have an encounter with God. Be there to pray, be there to spend time, get up in the morning and take some time with Jesus, and we'll just trust that He's going to do some amazing things. If you do not come back completely different, we're going to check your pulse. Anything else? No, you're good? No, ask as many questions as you do. That's what we're here for. No, I don't apologize, Tina. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yep. So we'll actually be there during the Feast of Tabernacles, which is one of the most important Jewish holidays, which is very cool. Honestly, it's going to be extremely crowded. It's going to be very, very crowded pretty much everywhere we go for the most part. So just be prepared. To me, generally speaking, I'm not a big crowd fan. I like, but I'm kind of excited for it because literally there's going to be people from around the entire world congregating in Jerusalem at this time. I mean, Christians and Jews from around the world, probably from every nation, are going to be there. So even though it's going to be really, really kind of crowded, and a lot of the sites, there may be some lines, and we have to, you're going to meet tour groups from all over. I mean, you're going to meet tour groups from Africa. You're going to meet them from the Philippines. You're going to meet them from, Asia, and it's a really neat experience. So don't get bummed out by the crowds. Really get excited by the fact that so many people are coming to this one area because of their faith, mostly because of their faith in God. And you'll have an opportunity to meet and interact with them. So
there's actually a verse, I can't remember where it is, but it actually says that that if you do not send people from your nation during the feast, your nation will not be blessed. And so we're bringing back a blessing to our nation as well. You mentioned something, and I'll just, on whatever trip you're going to go on, it just always works this way. God is usually working more in you than through you. And you may think it's through you, but those are the things that will get checked. The times, if they're early, you will be checked. If you're not a morning person, there will be things that you will deal with. And also, one of the other things, and we never know. Sometimes there are individuals who are just very needy, and as a result, sometimes they will get stuck on one individual. Please be really aware of that as a team, just so that we don't know that, but we don't know what somebody's going through at the time, just to make sure that one or two people are not having to carry the whole thing, that there's a sense that we're all walking through. And I'm not looking at anybody. I don't know anybody. I could tell you some folks, but they're not on the trip, so it's okay, all right?
yeah, we're really going to find out how sanctified you are when we have to leave, because if you haven't noticed, we have a 4:50 a.m. flight on Sunday morning out of Tel Aviv. Now, if the flight leaves at 4:50 a.m., guess what time we're going to be at the airport? 3 to 4 hours before that. And just as an FYI, Saturday is a full day of touring, and we will end our tour probably with dinner together, either in Tel Aviv or on our way to Tel Aviv. So you're going to, if you got any grumpy in you, it is going to come out on Sunday morning. So just be prepared. After 10 days in Israel. So I do apologize for that, but that was the best they could do for us. So so we'll find out just how sanctified we all are. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming. If anything else comes up, just feel free to email or call us at the office. Veronica will happily answer any of your questions. You can always call EO Tours directly as well. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. God bless.